Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, mysterious voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I found in my travels. Today, I don't want to talk about a specific book that I read, but rather because it's the end of one month and the start of another, I want to do the usual wrap-up and TBR. I do think it was a slower month for reading for April, just because I was sick during part of the month. My first cold since December of 2019. It was just a regular cold, I think. I don't know what I had in December 2019. That could have been pre-COVID or something weird or something like that. But I don't think I've ever had COVID yet, and I'm masking up, and I encourage you all to do the same. I know there are some people who are like, masks don't work, but if I haven't been sick since December 2019, when so many of my friends have, what does that say? And I know people will be like, correlation doesn't equal causation, but I think in this case we can apply a standard of an action creating a reaction, me masking up, resulting in me not getting sick. But that's beside the point. I just didn't get to as many books as I wanted to this month in April. But I do have some good plans for May, including some sillier books and some science type books. And what's also interesting is that it is now 5 years since I started doing this booktube thing. I started in June of May of 2020 at the start of the pandemic. My friend Lucas from Lucas MF on his channel, on their channel. Lucas told me, hey, I'm already recording for, they were already recording for their channel, so they were encouraging me to do the same, and I talked about holes, which I really loved, and things kind of went forward from there. The original goal of this channel was to talk about weird books, and I do think I kind of lost the thread of that, but I still maintain it sometimes because there's any number of strange books, but there's also some books that I need to get to just to, be considered well-read, or to experience, book culture in general, and things like that. So I really love making this channel. It's the reason I got back into reading, which I wasn't doing that much in 2020, possibly because of 8 years of undergrad and grad school, just making reading feel like a chore or something like that. But I got back into it. I feel great, and I love just to talk about books, to share my thoughts with other people, and to hear from other people whenever possible. Although mostly when people come and it's like, hey, thanks for posting this review, and then saying nothing else. So if you're reading or if you're watching this, I encourage you to go out and actually comment when you make a comment on my video. Just tell me what you thought of the book, like give your opinion. It's good to have a discussion, because that's what YouTube is supposed to be for, rather than getting in arguments about politics or creating a hate army for people who should be canceled or things like that. Very much looking forward to another year of BookTube. If you got any recommendations, let me know. I'm always willing to take some recommendations from the reading crowd out there. But without further ado, let's talk about the wrap-up and TBR, and I will move on from there. So what did I read in April? In terms of books, I read the Book of Genesis. That was a book that I read on April 1st, and I thought it was filled with a lot of plot holes, poor characterization of this God character, as well as poor characterization of other people. Like, some people just show up, do a thing, and then leave, and you never hear from them again. And what was their ultimate impact? It just seems like an anthology of characters rather than like a straight narrative or anything like that, which felt really, really strange. More of a history book than a tale of God and the people that he influenced. So yeah, don't really recommend the Book of Genesis out there. I also read I Love You, Beth Cooper, which I thought was good. The thing that held it back for me was the sexism, which a lot of it seemed thematic. Like, of course there's sexism, it's high school, and also Dennis doesn't really respect women in that way. It feels like the author was trying to make a point, but in doing that, is he just amplifying the message of sexism for comedy's sake, rather than having any real point? I think there's a good question to be made there. Overall, I do like it, but there are some problems that I feel kind of prevent it from, reaching the height that it possibly could. I also read Paper Names by Susie Liu. That was a Bevan recommendation. I thought it was interesting, but it didn't really have a heart at the end of the day. The big problem was that it said all the right things, but there was no reason to really support the characters, and it just kind of meandered until the story just came to an end. Not a big fan of it, but I think there is some potential hidden in there that maybe a rewrite or something could have really hammered out. But yeah, not a strong book. And then I also read The Kite Runner, which I thought was the best of the month. A really solid book, exploring grief, guilt in particular, redemption from that guilt, ethnic tensions in Afghanistan, and the promise of what Afghanistan can be if you remove all the colonialist invaders and you remove the fundamentalist religions that seek to regress the country rather than let it progress to what it could be. So yeah, very much a fan of the book, and it's probably going to hang with me for quite some time. And then I also read Soon I Will Be Invincible, which I felt had a lot of wasted potential. It does seem like the author was trying to subvert the superhero genre, which seems like a novel premise in 2007, when not a lot of people were doing that, and that was a couple years before Iron Man came out. Which kickstarted the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then you would have a lot more subversion down the road. But at the end of the story, they just kind of play it straight. It's just the hero takes down the villain, and there's really no point to any of this. It just feels like very beautiful prose mixed with nothing. It's just no point. It's just there to be there, and it's like a Michael Bay movie in that way, in novel form. Which if you're into that sort of thing, that might interest you and keep your attention for a couple hours, but sometimes people want more than that. I also read The Death of Superman by Dan Jurgens, which was exciting. It was by multiple other authors too. I liked the thrilling nature of the story, the complex fight between Superman and Doomsday, and the peril that Superman was put in, which is a very hard thing to do, given that Superman is, of course, a Superman. There's very little weakness apart from kryptonite. But I think this story does a good job of putting him in peril and creating consequences. And in that way, it felt very similar to Batman Nightfall, where you had, again, Batman in peril, forced to sort of reckon with how he does things and change things a little bit. Very exciting story, and I can't wait to read more. I did pick up Funeral for a Friend for my local library, which is the next sort of part of this overall comic book arc. And then I also read The Secret to Superhuman Strength by Alison Bechdel. It was really good. It was pretty great. Similar to The Kite Runner, but in for different reasons. I had read Fun Home before, and this continues a lot of the same thinking she was doing in Fun Home. But here she's talking more about exercise culture, fad culture, things like that, and mixing it with sort of the desire to find transcendentalism and achieve sort of a state of nirvana and being one with the world, and the struggle that she had throughout her life to really get there, mixed with her relationship with her family. I thought it was really good. Alison Bechdel has a very compelling way of writing. I saw that in Fun Home, and I'm seeing it here. So it's definitely worth seeking out if you're looking for a pretty quality graphic novel. I also read a number of short stories, including BLIT or Blit, which is about a digital image that causes people to lose their minds. I thought it was great and pretty weird, very fitting for this channel. Fun little sci-fi story. And then Souterrain, which was about family relationships and things like that, which was a pretty solid short story. Maggie Shipstead, I believe. Definitely worth seeking out. And then I also read a number of poems. You can check out my Poetry Thursday playlist for more information on that. But what do I intend to read in May? In terms of books, I want to read The Last Vampire on Earth, which is actually regarded as a terrible book. There's a story behind it where one of my friends suggested I watch the movie, which is sort of a parody or a pastiche of Twilight, but done really poorly, even worse than Twilight. It was sort of a book first, so I wanted to read it and talk with my friend about that and see where that goes. Road to Perdition, which is a graphic novel. Congo by Michael Crichton. The Lager Queen of Minnesota, which I actually got from a bookstore in Denver. I'm still trying to get through some bookstore reads and some Bevan reads as well. So there will probably be a Bevan read on this list somewhere. A Brief History of Time, which I picked up from my local library. Don't forget to patronize your local libraries. And then Funeral for a Friend, as I mentioned previously. So those will be some fun reads. I keep forgetting to talk about it, but the movie that Lucas and I picked for this month to talk about was Paris is Burning, which is a documentary about ball culture and LGBT individuals presented in the 90s. It's really well regarded, so I can't wait to finally watch it. I also have a number of short stories planned that I didn't get to in April because I was sick, but Susan Glaspell as well as Angelica Goradischer. Looking forward to that, and then a number of poems planned. We're reaching that point of the year where I do that period of Pride, where I talk about LGBT poems, LGBT authors from the midpoint in May to the end of July. I feel like talking about it in June is simply not enough, especially in this time frame where people like Donald Trump and other conservative politicians wish to erase LGBT and especially transgender narratives to make it seem like they're not important so they can push them to the side or do worse things to them. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about more LGBT poets and poems in May. Look out for that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the wrap-up and TBR for April and May, respectively. If you have any recommendations, as I've said before, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you and get some recs if you think there's something I might be particularly interested in. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that other people can find out about these books or about this channel if they do not already know. Join the Discord if you want to have further conversations about books, movies, or TV or things like that. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and May-going travels. Farewell.